You think squirrels can hear it when I think how much I love them?
Good evening.
You know how hard it is to be quiet and not sneeze?
We are Boomer Rex tonight, and we are back once again. I once again have Mr. Boomer Rex with me.
All right.
And asshole.
We're going for like 2 nights, and our production values just go through the
Just
floor.
right
Oh
through the
gosh,
floor.
so we apologize for being off the last couple nights. Family Horse the second of a dynasty, the last of a dynasty, has left us.
The
and
end of a chapter.
Yeah, what the fuck is wrong with you?
She was a wonderful horse. She was the first horse I ever brushed, so it was really difficult for me. You know, you living out your little girl dream, and then now this dream is gone.
Now the horse is living out its dream of not having to carry riders around.
Not having to deal with me anymore.
She followed her best friend,
Yes.
who we lost about a month ago.
No, it was only a couple weeks.
All right. But again,
It was very recently, yeah.
so she was 30 years old. She had lived with him for 28 of those years.
Well, and they knew each other
was
since she was
8 months old.
7 or 8. I thought Martha said 7.
Months old.
Yeah,
Months
months. Yes.
Single-digit months old.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Very
not many horses get to live with their best friends for
that long, yeah.
30 years.
Yeah. No, they lived good lives, and we will miss them dearly.
Yeah.
But here's how they've been screwing things up for the last couple of days. We haven't been around.
Yeah, no, we first of all I wanted to apologize for the production value of the first half of our last episode. Yeah, so let's dig right into it. We have space stuff with Boomer Rex. Gonna tell us something.
Space stuff. Yeah, this is really sad because this would have been time appropriate if we hadn't had a horse die. So the South Torrid meteor shower is ongoing as we speak, and this will not be posted for a few hours, so it's kind of too late. I'm sorry.
I got you.
But
He's gonna go out and check
gonna
for
go
you
out
right
and
now.
check.
Let you know what it looks like.
the nice thing about
Tonight's night sky is dark.
yeah, well, and that was one of the reasons for being interested in this, is there's a new moon, so the sky is very dark. And the Taurids are known for having outbursts of fireballs, which are just larger things coming into the atmosphere.
Not the whiskey.
They're
internet.
brighter and they give a track, and there are not a lot of them. But you go out, right, take your blanket with you, lie on your back for a couple hours, and see if you see any meteors.
Well, I might be hanging out outside after this recording for a little while, everybody. Please comment
So
if
we'll
you
give you a
saw them.
report.
We'll give you a report
All right.
tomorrow. But yeah, so if you checked them out and everything and you think they're cool, or maybe you don't think they're cool, comment. Let us know.
Yeah.
Don't forget to like and share, subscribe, tell your friends. I believe we are at 6 subscribers now. But
right.
yeah.
So you guys are slacking. Go sign
half
up more of
dozen.
your
Yeah,
friends.
go
whether
tell
they're-
everybody. Share.
Is there a drunk kid at the party you're at because you're listening to this at a party because you're bad at parties? Unlock their phone and sign them up.
Or just, grab their phone from them while they're trying to text their
Yeah.
ex-girlfriend
While you're-
about stuff that they shouldn't be telling them anyway. And then you say, just watch this show, you'll
You
feel
mean
better.
sending them one of those
It's
pics?
fun.
Take a moment from sending random numbers in their contacts list, dick pics, and
Yeah.
sign them up. Make them a subscriber.
See, I
Do it.
chose not to say that phrase, but you went right ahead. So.
Yeah. Back on the dick pics, folks.
Manners and the rest. That's one of those
Yeah,
things that
Be nice.
Completely
send
do
dick
not
they
understand.
must be expensive. I don't know.
Speaking of dicks,
Morality is expensive.
Uh-oh, he's getting into it.
so the fella named Ben Thacker, who's part of a conservative slate trying to take over a school board, and what he wants libraries to do is report students who check out the LGBTQ books.
So he wants to rock Don't Ask, Don't Tell.
Yeah,
on
and
the-
this I don't fucking understand.
Library.
This makes
This
me
is
mad.
it makes me sick to my stomach. And the other thing he wants to do is make sure the person who ordered the book has to come explain to the school board why they did. Well, I'll explain it to you, assholes. Some folks aren't cis, right? And again, I had friends in high school who had a difficult time because they, honest to God, thought they were the only people in the world who were gay. And and again, in high school, I didn't know.
Yeah.
Right? So having those books in the library is probably a good idea.
Yeah, probably saves a lot of kids a lot of confusion and fear.
Anyway, so speaking of dicks.
Uh-oh.
No, that was Ben Thacker.
Yeah, no, that guy, that's ridiculous. I don't understand the concept of.
That's un-American to the
finding
point where it makes me sick to my stomach.
Oh my God, it makes me, oh God, it's not okay. I don't care if you checked out a book about LGBT, that doesn't make you LGBTQ. Looking at a book.
Even if it did, asking the library to report it.
No, that's unacceptable. It's a privacy thing, and it's not okay.
Gestapo.
It's all of those things, and everyone at this table has thought about some stuff before they Googled it. So maybe it's better these kids know the country they're growing up in. Home of the servile and the surveilled.
Yeah, no, it's some Nazi Gestapo bullshit, and it's unacceptable, people.
The Nazis don't
Not
have
okay.
this. Every religion on earth has wanted to control human orgasms.
No, we
Seems to be
are
what gods care about a lot.
we are walking that fine line, folks, right back into Nazi territory and
Right.
the KKK and all this shit. Stop it, people.
It won't
God
be
damn.
Nazis.
No, it'll be the new flavor. It'll be Nazis 2.0.
It'll be bald eagle,
American
sparklers,
Taliban.
and reeling pits and
America.
Yes.
Fuck. No, that is not American, people, and it needs to stop.
No, that's not what America is.
Well, it's not what we were raised to believe it is, right? But it's very quickly leading to a path that this is who we are, and that terrifies me more, right? That maybe this is who a lot of Americans are, and
gonna
that's
say.
not okay.
Are we changing, or is the mask slipping?
Yeah, I really am
No,
more
it's
believing that that's
it's
the
both.
case.
It's both. The 60s and 70s drove the dedicated racists underground.
Agreed.
Right? We called them trailer trash. We called them scum. Right? Nobody wanted to be called a racist. Donald Trump made open, babbling racism good again.
Yeah, he
And I
opened.
think-
the
He made
last
it
door.
acceptable again, and it's
That's
not.
right.
It's not, people. Go back on your
he-
rocks. Don't want to
He
hear
didn't
it.
uniquely make it acceptable. The South Park kids have apologized for their part in that. Right, our
Oh, yeah.
our
Well,
country
and,
got coarser as the lived experience of Americans got coarser.
Absolutely. And the Republicans have been doing the dog whistle words for 30 years.
They've been doing it since they were called Dixiecrats.
Yep. So,
So, speaking of this, let's get right into our MAGA insurrectionist, Jenna Ryan. She's going to
yeah.
jail
Is that
for
the one with the?
60
Is that
days?
Becky with the good hair?
that's the Karen who said she wouldn't go to jail because she was blonde and white. And
Free white and
That's not
21.
true.
No, I'm
Had
kidding.
so much
Yeah.
to
Blonde,
throw
white,
in
and
her,
21.
do in her life.
so she was sentenced to 60 days in prison.
She was a fine, upstanding citizen up until that one
Yeah,
day.
no,
Yeah.
I'm fine with that. I mean, I would have preferred a year. Just
Well,
to make a
she's really
point, but
upset
60
about it
days
because
is
it's the
fine.
media that caused it. Because they reported what she said, and they showed her in her little Twitter account, right, encouraging the insurrectionists and the well, tough luck.
Yep. Nope. So that problem's going to sort itself out. Hopefully.
Her truth was that the American security apparatus was there to hassle whoever she pointed at and said the problem was.
That's right. She thought she was white and immune. Guess what?
Right?
Both of those
And
things are.
there's a lot of that
reasonably
going
wrong.
on, right? Is all these complaints from the insurrectionist rioters about how they're being treated in prison and so forth. Sorry, guys, that's the way prison is. Tough luck.
Yeah.
No, they've done something rude, and I'm not sure it was right. Letting them be together is different, and I'm not sure it's not a worse thing.
My guess is that they're keeping them together because if they distributed them in the
Oh,
DC
yes.
jail, they'd be killed.
They'd be guilty of locking them in with what we've created the justice system. Yes.
Yeah.
No, we can't, but that means we have created an entire class of criminal who is this hothouse Rose who cannot encounter American criminality without just being hurt out of hand, let's say. and that's insane. And I think keeping them together lets them self-radicalize in a way that will come back to bite us for sure. But also, right, these people are screwed. And they were lied to for profit by American corporations that have names and are traded like publicly. Like,
Yep. So, anyway.
All right. So on to Emerald Robinson, who's in Twitter.
Oh my God,
jail.
I couldn't pass this one up. Right, so this is a Newsmax,
oh shit.
personality. And so she was banned from Twitter because she posted this ridiculous thing about that vaccines had a satanic tracker. And I've got the words.
I was
This
gonna
is
say.
so wonderful.
Yeah, no, these words made me giggle when I saw them, and I not chose this because I knew you were going to hit it.
It said, "Dear Christians, the vaccines contain a bioluminescent marker
Bum, bum, bum.
called luciferase so that you can be tracked." I mean, this is the kind of crazy, oh my God. But I'll tell you what, right? What she needs to do is she needs to go, remember Dr. Demon Seaman?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she needs to go find Dr. Demon Seaman, and the two of them can start a company, right? That sells solutions for luciferase. Because anyway, just ridiculous.
No, that's pretty crazy. I'm not gonna lie. That's just nuts.
Yeah, well, this was nuts enough that Newsmax benched her. With any luck, they'll let her go. Anyway,
All right.
sometimes you look at this stuff and you go, where do you find these airheads?
Well, apparently there are a dime a dozen nowadays. So what's going on with?
That'd be about exactly right.
Yeah.
Dime a dozen.
One quick digression. Oh good God, what was her name? Stella Emanuel, the Demon Seed lady. The Texas Medical Board is looking into what's going on with that.
Yeah, ineffectually, as far as I can tell.
But
we'll see.
And what I like, yeah, most of the bureaucracy we have to watch doctors isn't great because it's staffed and whatever and maintained by, for, and of doctors.
All right. So what's going on with Jamie? Is it James or Jamie?
James Carville.
Oh, okay. I
Yes.
missed a letter here.
God,
That's
I love
right.
him. Is Circus ugly? Family Guy got that right. But
Yeah. Oh, what?
damn, he's good.
Corporal Q-Ball Carville.
Yeah.
I've forgotten what the other one was.
I
but
did
it
like
was
his
hilarious.
autobiography. That was really, and I mean, like, yeah, obviously, if you write your own biography, it should come out good. But I've liked interviews and other things I've seen with him that he is at least learning and understanding. Because I saw him say his thing, and then I'll tell you.
Well, no, he's saying, don't just look at Virginia and New Jersey, right? Look at Long Island, look at Buffalo, look at Minneapolis, look at Seattle, right? And we've said it before. The whole defund the police. And first of all, could you pick stupider words, right?
Well, and
And
it
if that's
doesn't.
actually what you mean, screw you.
No,
Right?
and it doesn't relate to what these people are actually trying to say, right? Which is give the police more people.
No, that's not
who
what they
can
said.
do
They said defund the
Yeah.
police.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
So
but
screw them.
No, it's a branding.
No,
thing.
you're welcome to.
No, my point was what they meant and what they should
They
have
never
said.
ever get to say out loud is.
Yeah, what they really want is to get social workers and such like that into the police force so that when police go out to these questionable calls of maybe it could be somebody having trouble, that they have a buddy who's a psychologist who knows how to handle these situations appropriately without excessive use of force or force at all in most cases, and they understand how to do things
No, it's
appropriately.
restructuring how we deal with certain things.
And it's giving the police more help, right? We want to help the police so that they don't have to be so scared all the time and so that they can do their jobs appropriately.
Well, again, the other biggest help you can give police, right, is get more of them on the street and get them better trained.
Yeah.
Right? Because you can watch we have lots and lots and lots of examples on video of police doing things that most police would be pretty damned offended by.
Right.
And they're doing it because they're scared and because there weren't enough police on the street for the people who knew what they were like to go in and say, get this asshole off the street. Right?
Yes, properly sold, this would allow the police to understand that we are no longer going to force them to bring one single tool of the state's ability to every problem.
Yeah.
Because
Well,
all they're doing is see, right, they are a hammer, they see all the
I
world
know.
of
It's
nails.
just, that's the one I was going to use. So anyway, we got to stop using the hammer. So
And the
anyway,
phrase defund the police, because you never get to
how could
say
you
the second
possibly pick
sentence.
that?
Because they know that nothing's ever going to change, so you may as well just make crazy noises because that'll get you internet famous enough that maybe you can buy a spot on somewhere to run away because this is all coming down in real time.
I'm wondering what phrase would be better. Restructure the police.
Reforge.
Reform.
Forge.
Reforge. I love
Oh,
that.
that's good.
The cops have a high action bias. They're
Yep.
recruiting heavily out of veterans, so you're going to get and that's the perfect term.
And actually mean it,
Yes.
right? To produce a better tool, right? A sharper tool that does the right thing every time instead of just most of the time.
And can head off some of the danger at the pass.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it's sad and crazy. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, no, that's good.
So anyway, Carville went on to say, we're letting the noisy wing of our party define the rest.
We're letting ourselves be defined as the noisy wing.
Right, and that we need to take our noisy wing under our wing and explain to them that if they would ever like to legislate again,
They need to make
They're
sure
gonna
that
have
Joe
to
Manchin's
focus
okay
on
with
some-
whatever they want to do.
no, they're going to have to defeat Joe Manchin. They're going to have
Yeah,
to primary the
that's-
asshole, and they're going to have to win. And you don't do that by talking. And I'm not saying the things the noisy wing is talking about are wrong, but they're not what
The way they want to
voting
talk
America is worried about.
or has any belief that what's left of the American experiment has time or funding or interest to solve.
What we should be talking about is how do we get
Minimum wage and nothing
Yes,
else
start
ever.
with absolutely
And
the
stop.
minimum wage. How do we get a decent deal for working folks?
Yeah.
Right, across the board. And for those who
That'll be determined by hourly wage because that's where all the working folks are.
and it all rides on the base of the minimum wage.
Yes.
Right?
But I mean, and yes, we'll end up paying everyone slightly more, but we're not going to do that because Joe Manchin's not a fan.
Time for the Democratic Party to find a way to get some folks elected. Right now, they're not doing a real good job of it.
That's true.
No, and the places where we ran progressives that had competent ideas and the party backed them, we won. And when we ran the same old always guys, basically everyone who looks like Joe Biden, we lost because Virginia knows Terry McAuliffe. They're not interested. Or the swing districts, right? The suburban white voters or suburban voters who care about tax cuts decided this other guy wasn't going to set everything on fire tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right, that there would be time to fix it for Youngkin. And Terry McAuliffe was going to get whatever he got done last time.
Yeah.
What were his big legislative things?
I have no idea. You
Other
want to look
than
it up?
wanting to talk about what parents teach their kids. And
Oh, Jesus.
so no, if we ran a competent candidate, we might have won something.
Again, that's the biggest problem, right? And if we want to keep running Hillary Clinton's, right, we're going to lose
Joe
every
Biden's
time.
that loses
And Joe
things.
Biden's, yeah. No, they're peas in a pod.
Yeah.
They're the.
Peas in
I'm
a pan
sorry,
soup.
folks. The fact of the matter is that the re-thugs do re-thug light better than the
Oh yeah,
Democrats do.
Democrats. You're never going to weaponize fear the way that people have been doing it since Joe Pine.
So you can find a way to make it clear to people that it is possible to make America better.
Yeah.
Starting with the minimum wage, right? Or you can give up and you'll have Donald Trump in 2024 and that'll be your last election. So go right ahead. But the Democrats better reach down and get a grip.
That's true. No, and I saw an interesting thing on Facebook, and I'm annoyed because I can't find it again. I checked all my usual good sources
Well, good.
for this
Hurry.
type of thing.
Right.
But
Come on,
anyway,
Democrats, get your damned act together.
basically what it says is from memory, so this isn't, but anyway, it basically said that I wish that I could vote for a Democrat that is all the things that Republicans fear instead of these Democrats that you vote for and then do nothing.
Yeah.
Yep. There
right?
you go.
The ones that are in the Republicans' nightmares. That's what we want. That true person who's actually going to come out and do shit and get
I was
shit
gonna
done.
say, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Because basically up until the do shit and get shit done, you were talking about AOC in terms of names that the Republicans all know and are all very afraid of.
Yeah, but this is someone
Yeah.
who's effective, right? We
yeah.
want someone who's effective and who's going to be that real scary
Yes.
person. So like Bernie Sanders 2.0,
Yeah.
who's actually going to be able to move some
Someone who can
things.
campaign outside of New Hampshire
Exactly.
or New
Or
England.
Vermont or New England in general, right?
Yep. Well, I think you'll find local flavors of all of those, right?
Yeah, but the DNC doesn't ever back them, and when they win the nomination, the DNC doesn't endorse them.
Well, the DNC went so far as to say they wouldn't deal with vendors who were dealing with challengers. the
Yeah, who
last time
primaried
around,
anybody. Yeah.
Right. Which is why I gave the DNC exactly $0.00.
It turns
And
out,
make
though, you can just give it
contributions
right
to-
to the candidates.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But
And-
it does mean, Democrats, you left money on the table. Because here's a human who could max out their total federal giving, and they didn't.
Yeah.
At least not to you. And that's really
Yeah.
all you care about, DNC. I know. I hear you out there.
Well, wake up.
Now, Assel, did you have something you wanted to discuss tonight?
No?
Oh, okay.
Did I?
Now,
You'll
I
think of it
kind
while
of
we do
vaguely
other
remember
stuff.
you were saying something earlier, and I wasn't sure if you wanted to.
I'm not going to talk about a law firm that's killed people before.
Okay, fine. Maybe that's what I'm confusing this with. Anyway, so let's get on to. We have some new details and facts about climate weirding. Let's talk about.
Well, we
that,
keep that,
Mr.
yeah, and
BoomerRex.
what the hell are you supposed to call this? Climate change. Change doesn't begin to describe what is happening, right? And what will get worse and worse and worse with every succeeding year.
No,
No,
come on.
I
Even if we
really-
stop emitting carbon dioxide
Yeah.
today.
Yeah.
Yep.
So-
that's the issue.
So, some of the words I'm just gonna read them because I thought they were good. They came from a YouTube thing. I don't have the reference, right? If somebody recognizes this as theirs,
Yeah,
I'll
put it
be
in the
happy
comments.
to give them credit.
Yeah.
Right.
You need to start paying
Um,
attention to your sources, man.
Yeah, I know. No, I got this through a chain of custody, right? And it didn't come with any words about who had said it.
Oh, that's terrible. Okay, well, if you recognize this, folks, please claim it, and we will give you all the credit you are worth.
Because this is really well
you are
written.
due.
It says, look, we're members of the cult of hope. No serious problem can be spoken of without giving equal or more time to a discussion of how everything's really going to be okay, right? And we all tend to do that. And any warning turns into, it's just a possibility. It's, it's theoretical.
There's the Jesus factor.
Right.
Right.
I think I said those words.
I know.
once.
Have done for years.
That it's an outlier because the doctrine of hope insists that everything is going to work out. Sorry about that. Climate change, not going to work out, right? Even if we change today, and I doubt seriously that we will, what we're talking about is not climate change, it's climate weirding.
Yeah.
And it's
Because
not
everybody thinks, it's going to be just like it's always been, except a little bit hotter, right?
well, and a couple
No.
of degrees is only warmer. It's not even really hotter, right?
Well, no, Assel and I were watching an interesting thing the other day where they were talking about, comedians and such. And this one comedian said this thing, and he said, well, if the world is warming up, then why is it getting so cold in the winter? And
The
he
Inhofe
kind of
paradox.
facepalm because he's like, no one's explained this to me, and you have to facepalm because it has been explained to you
Over and over.
when the polar caps melt, right? It causes polar vortexes, which pulls down that
Disrupts the
cold
polar
air,
vortex.
and it disrupts the polar vortex, and it pulls down that cold air, which is what causes these cold things. I never even heard the term polar vortex until I was in my 20s, living in New England,
And it came
we
down to visit.
had these terribly cold, dry
Arctic weather came to see you.
winters.
It missed you.
It was ridiculous, and it had never happened in my whole life, and I've lived there my whole life. And even my father, who grew up in that area, right, grew up in New England, said this is not like a normal thing. We had a cold winter. We were talking negative degrees, which is not common on the reg, right? But we've had them more recently, very commonly, and it's happening more and more and more.
Well,
and they're
Texas had
dry,
one
there's
last
less
winter.
snow. And then we
Well,
get
no, but
these
I hear their
crazy...
independent electric grid will work.
Oh, yeah,
That way they're not
absolutely.
burdened by regulation.
That's
Well,
right.
and
And
then-
then clearly, they weren't burdened by the desire to provide electricity to their customers.
Right, and then you get the swing of other years, right, where you'll randomly have excessive amounts of snow.
Yeah.
So it swings both ways, and this is climate weirding. This is what we're talking about. Things that are not normal that your grandparents didn't see on the reg is now happening on the reg, and that's the climate
It's
weirding.
just like the rest of life advice. If you were before, so basically, rude things I want to say for the nice things that were said for the last 5 minutes. The hell did you say to me? The hope doctrine or some shit?
Yes, the doctrine of hope.
Cool. You have to be
Cult of
born.
hope.
Yeah, cool. You'd have to be born before 1981 to believe any of that shit. You'd have to. No,
Thanks a bunch, asshole.
cool, but you I believe
That's
in
why that's why it's valuable having you at the table, is that you have a darker view than I do, and probably
It's never
closer to
been
the
light.
truth.
where I lived.
I understand. It's
We
been
were
getting
merely adapted to the dark. We were born in it.
into it.
So,
fine. The hell with both of you.
but hey, do please keep buying me food, and I have some other ideas on what we should buy. Yeah, hold on. Now I'm gonna go pee on Risen for a second.
Okay.
There we
What were
go.
you talking about?
All right.
What'd you say? Hold on. No, she said something too.
But what?
I don't know. What was the last thing you were talking about?
The climate weirding in New England and the polar vortex.
No, but the Dennis Miller thing. He used
that
the
one.
Jim Inhofe gambit of how can there be climate change? It's winter. I'm like, that's weather, not climate, but sure.
Yeah, weather is different than climate, people. Remember that.
But that's an incredible, right? Again, it's the same. It's the inverse of the problem about defund the police. Here's this bumper sticker answer, right? That we called it global warming in what? One, Popular Mechanics, and like a bunch of places. But
Yeah.
really, the only public.
Well, that was that was the early
Yes.
description, because what we were looking at was satellite data that said the Earth had, over the past 20 years,
Yep.
warmed very rapidly, frighteningly rapidly.
And Exxon hadn't come up with a lie about how the godless communists had done this to us.
Yeah.
But whatever the problem was, it was not liquid dinosaur, and you should keep buying it. In fact, buy a car that gets less distance for more gas. That's your patriotic duty, America.
I think we know it wasn't actually dinosaurs now.
I know, but
Okay.
we do know it was also Exxon that paid more money than we talk about
Yeah.
investing in any problem to make sure we didn't talk about this problem.
Yep.
Second only to the sugar industry and every other collection of
Well, in
pickup
certain
products.
states where you can't use the phrases climate change or global warming.
And I am perfectly
Which
fine
I-
with that as long as we don't have to send climate change money to repair it.
Yep.
Oh yeah, I don't even want to get into how much the sugar company paid to blame obesity on fat, which is not actually our problem, folks. Eating fat is not your problem. Eating sugar is your problem. But anyway, I digress.
I don't think you want to get Americans off the most readily available antidepressant.
No, but they should definitely be paying attention to how much of that's in their food. Look at the
Yeah,
back
no,
of your
I-
containers. There's way more than necessary.
Yep.
Totally agreed. I just don't want to see North America insta-convert into the Hellraiser home planet.
I highly doubt we reach enough people for that to be.
No,
an
no,
issue.
I'm not talking about us. I'm just... Because we keep talking about, well, we got to do something about the obesity. Why? It's the only way they can biologically feel like they've been successful in the lives they're not going to have children in, and at least two of the cohorts currently moving about in the world with, like, disposable income aren't having pets.
Which is really scary.
That was the replacement for babies.
No, they're the trainers for babies.
Mm-hmm. Why would you need a trainer if you know that isn't in your future?
Yeah. No,
Why would you bring a child into this world where they're going
Yep.
to be poor their whole lives and then
I
die to climate
suspect
change?
the reason it's trainer, and
Yeah.
I'm going to annoy some people. I don't give a shit. I think women in relationships, right? If the relationship is supportive and viable and sustainable and so forth, that they gradually reach a point where they want to have children, right? But as they move toward that, the first easier step is to have a pet,
Right.
right? And again, the pet is just a trainer. That's
Yeah.
what Lazarus was,
That's what the houseplant before Lazarus was.
and Gisela, and so
No,
on.
it's a way to test your logistical supply chain. Can you deliver, right, You have X
Can you care for this creature?
that is completely dependent on your input.
Right.
Instead, we got Tamagotchis, which was great until they die, and then you take the battery out.
Okay. So anyway, to go back, understand what climate is, right? Climate is a record of what it has been, right? So when you talk about the climate here,
Yep.
you're talking about hundreds of years of records that tell you, in a world that's not changing, what it's going to be like next year, right? And kind of tells you what the limits are, right?
Farmer's
where are
almanac type things.
Yeah, right. Where does the edge of the road here, right? That's not what we're seeing. When we talk about climate change, we're not talking about it's a little warmer, but everything else is the same. The additional heat that goes into the atmosphere governs atmospheric circulation. It governs how much water is picked up, where it's picked up from, where it's put down. And so you're talking about changes. We sit here in southern Arizona. Southern Arizona is right on the cusp, but the most likely outcome is that the rains will stop. And when they do, everything you see out there is going to die.
Yeah, the Chihuahua Desert
it's
is
going
going to sweep over us.
Yeah. And
Is
it
it
will
Chihuahua
either be replaced or not, but what's out there can't live here.
Right.
And what's out
Right.
here sucks, because out here sucks.
Yeah, well, I'm over at the ranch, right? We have cedars that have been there for God knows how long that are dying. And we're not willing to pump water to keep them alive in an
Yes.
area where some people's wells are running dry. So again, when you talk about, it's not climate change, it's climate weirding. There are going to be places, definitely places in the U.S., where the rainfall is going to double, which means that every stream, every river is going to get bigger. First, it's going to get more violent.
Enjoy your
And
riverside
it's going
property.
to flood. But after that, they're just going to get wider, right? They're going to tear away all those lakefront properties, and then there'll be new people.
Oh, and it's going to absolutely collapse all of the mitigation infrastructure for flooding. And it's going to be bad.
Yep.
So let me do my asphalt thing here. Because you had already talked about it, that if we stop tomorrow, the CO2 numbers go up for another 30 years.
Yep.
Right, that I'll believe we're taking this seriously when the countries that have it good right now agree that if you launch a rocket, we're shooting it down. That whatever you're doing in space is not worth the carbon footprint of that. That planes gone. Planes may be gone. Again, not saying these, because again, that's the problem. We were talking earlier to a friend who thinks we should move people closer to their jobs, which absolutely, that'd be great. The cost of that is going, right, arguing against that is so easy. Arguing against any of this is so easy. Why should you give up the American experience for stuff a generation before you did? When this isn't going to be good. You're not going to retire. You're going to work until the day you die. Yeah, I'm going to drive a big truck and I'm going to have awesome weekends. Live fast, die young, leave a beautiful corpse. Not advocating that as a life plan, internet, but
this is what
That's
our
how you spell
generation
against
is
it.
looking at,
and you can see the numbers. There's one
That's
flavor
fair.
of North American humans whose life expectancy is going down, and you've been lied to about your life expectancy your whole time. Because if you carve the 1% out of that number, it hasn't moved since 1947. You're dying at 63. Those other years the other people get, that's because they're rich enough when they get the sniffles, they go see a specialist.
Whoa, I'm a winner there.
Yeah.
We're not. The millennials are aggressively not going to the doctor for regular checkups or for having the
It's
sniffles.
why you
or
have to
flu
keep
or anything.
talking about all the things we're going to do with Obamacare, because once you take the tax penalty out, there is no reason for anyone under 50 to have insurance.
It makes me wonder how many people died at home with COVID that are not being counted in these COVID numbers. I'm sure there's a lot more than people want to even consider.
All of the data we have suggests that we underestimated COVID deaths by somewhere between 30 and 40%.
I believe it.
Right.
We know before COVID, Americans weren't going to hospitals because it is a $700 bill to sit in an emergency room and never be seen by a doctor.
Boy, you found a cheap emergency.
I know, right? But I guess whichever lady did. So I'm guessing urgent care, because we use those words interchangeably, and they're very much not the same thing.
Yeah.
Urgent care is a casualty collection point. It is not a treatment center.
No, if you actually went to an emergency room and signed in,
Oh, yeah.
I would be thunderstruck if your bill was less than $2,000.
I got $2,000 and I had 2 Band-Aids put on. Not even
Yeah.
full Band-Aids, just like steri strips worth about the 2 white patches of a Band-Aid.
Yeah. So, in terms of correcting climate weirding,
Yes.
right? The other choice is climate destruction. That was the one, this paper.
Don't let it trick you. The
I
other choice
like-
is Mad Max, and
No.
it's going to be awesome.
I like climate weirding. I think everybody
I-
is comfortable with that term. I like when did we coin that phrase, or did you hear that
I heard
somewhere?
that somewhere.
Asshole
Okay.
came up with
No, I
it.
did not.
No, he heard it somewhere else.
Okay,
But
fine, but you brought it.
whoever
Yes.
said that,
I
if you
introduced it to
figure
you.
out
You brought
who-
it to the table.
Yeah. Whoever initially said that, you're a genius, and text me, call me. I mean, I'm not gonna give you my number, so like comment, and then we can get in touch. I'll send you an email. We'll work it out. But we want to have a discussion with you. That climate weirding thing is perfect and spot on and beautiful. And if we could have you on the show, that would be brilliant. But
Oh.
anyway.
I may actually have coined climate weirding.
Oh really?
Global weirding.
So anyway,
So we invented climate weirding. Fuck off, everybody.
And we can fight about it, Catherine. Hey ho. Who invented the term global,
Global
weirding, which is what I think I heard.
global weirding. Okay, well, I
Yeah.
like that one too. Okay, so climate weirding, global weirding.
Okay, but we're going to keep calling it climate weirding just so you people understand. We
And-
coined that term. It's ours.
And the problem is
TMCR.
that
Oh, see, don't
nothing
steal.
in your experience, nothing in the climate records is going to be useful. It's going to change to the point where it's unrecognizable. That areas where you could once raise wheat, you won't be able to raise wheat. Areas where,
This
you
is
had,
beyond Dust Bowl level problems, is what you're talking about, right?
yes,
Yeah.
Well,
by
and
and large.
it's, it's worse than that because slow changes over time, right? The cyclical changes people keep trying to hide all of this under. We could plan for. We could build, right, flooding mitigation. This isn't that. This is record snowfall followed by record temperatures, which none of your models predicted as a flood
exactly.
issue. And so
Well, and your infrastructure, right? There's an awful lot of infrastructure that's designed to survive a 20-year, 50-year, 100-year, whatever, right? Those are going to become routine events in many places.
Oh, for
Right.
sure.
So you're going to have bridges on interstates that are simply wiped out by a flood,
Right.
right? It will take a year to put them back, right? It will
assuming
just-
nothing else goes wrong.
Exactly.
So I was doing a little dance. You couldn't see it in it, but I had to tell
Oh,
you
he
about
was
it.
totally doing a dance. This
Um,
was his happy dance.
The problem with this is, right, as I was saying, record snowfall to record temperatures to record flooding, which also means if it's real hot, you can't have road workers out. Is
107 degrees in the state of Washington.
that you are now trying to develop a mitigation strategy that deals with assaults on multiple fronts, or to put it another way, Mother Nature just figured out mobility warfare.
Ooh.
And so you were always planning a defensive for where they are no longer attacking you.
Right.
Yeah, that your awareness of contact is you begin to lose infrastructure or whatever. And right, you're aware of it because of the damage, not because you got a warning about it.
Well, and the other possibility you have to think about is that there's no guarantee that the weather systems, the circulation patterns, the rainfall patterns, and so forth that develop from this, there's no guarantee that they're going to be stable, that you're going to get a new climate, right?
Yeah, a new set, predictable,
Right.
which all of human society.
There's a
requires.
point there
Relies on
where
it.
every year will be different,
Yeah.
right?
No, we.
Where you will, you'll have
We rely
Sorry.
on predictability.
Yep.
So, as you were saying,
Again, the situation with I like global weirding better.
Mhm.
the situation with global weirding is you're going to get a new climate, right? But climate is two things. It's an average and it's the variability. And there is no guarantee, absolutely none, that the variability will be comparable to what we have now.
Right.
And we can hope, right? And if it kind of sort of is, we can kind of sort of adapt, except it's going to change again because we haven't stopped putting the CO2
And
into
so
the
now
atmosphere.
you're building a house alongside a ship on a river.
So, so I just have this wonderful picture of weathermen in about 5 years just having one of those roulette wheels, like just a wheel that they just spin, and they're like, I don't know what's going on. Just what happens.
It won't be the weatherman because the models we run are superb at predicting the weather, right? I mean, we knew it was going to be 107 degrees in the state of Washington.
Well, right, but you know when
right?
they do their reports about like
Yeah.
this winter is going to be really wet or really dry or whatever,
They won't have a clue.
Exactly, that's my point.
Yeah.
They're just going to be so frustrated, like,
Right.
I don't know.
And those are
We'll wait and see what
climatologists.
happens.
Those are
Not
climatologists, and they'll be pulling their hair out by the handful. But no, we're talking about 100-year events happening every year. And this is not survivable economically, right?
Not on this model.
No.
No, unrestrained capitalism cannot deal with this. Because
Well-
this is the point where any capitalist society facing this investment in a foreign country would pull all investments.
Yep. Would
Basically,
walk away.
if you have waterfront property, sell. But buy away from water. Not too far away from water, because you want water, okay? Don't move to the desert. You'll regret that. But
Invest in a houseboat.
yeah. Or do that. Or have a boat so that you can be like, oh, shit's going south. Everybody on the boat.
Crap.
But don't own property. Don't put money into that shit, people.
Always wanted to live on one of those houseboats in Amsterdam.
Yeah.
No, I
know.
It was the idea. There's a houseboat right there. This is downtown. It's a 6-block walk to the middle of town. And that boat is, you could have a really nice little home in a boat, especially after you take the engine out, right? And use the engine room for one of your rooms.
That's great until you flood and can't stop your boat from going wherever the hell it feels like going. And then you'll really wish you had that engine.
Turns out you've got to move. I think the boat has to move. It's every 3 years, every 7 years, something. And so what happens is when you come up toward that date, you'll hire somebody to bring an engine, put it in your boat, take you away from your parking spot and float around or drive around for a while, put it back, take the engine out and put your couch back in.
That's great for now. What we're saying is we're talking about climate change, and that's why you're going
I
to buy
doubt
the
11
house.
years from now, as many of them will be able to afford Jimmy John's towing service.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, it will be interesting.
Yeah.
We live in interesting times, the internet. Aren't we lucky?
yeah.
That's right. Living out that Chinese curse.
The people born before 1981 did this to you.
Thanks
And
a
never
bunch.
forget. I am genuinely terrified.
No, in a very real way, we did.
Yeah.
Right?
In a very real way. Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
That's right.
No, is we were caught up
Your
when my
work-life
father
balance.
came home from World War II, right?
Right.
He went to college. Well, my father was the first person in his family to graduate from high school. He finished with a PhD in chemistry,
Nice.
right? So
Beware
he
of
spent his
racism.
life building bombs.
And yet, he went into the ground having all of his fingers.
Yes, he did.
Uh-oh.
Isn't that interesting?
Well, he never had horses.
That's fair.
Yeah.
It was not the bomb making that got you in trouble.
Right. So
For an aerospace, it's
yeah. No, but the point was that following in my father's footsteps, right, I got into industrial America and spent my life doing what the companies I worked for needed.
Right.
Right. The problem was everybody believed that, you were going to have Democrats and Republicans, and none of them were all that different. So the hell with it.
the
right?
fight. The answers
don't
would lie
have to
somewhere in
pay
the
it.
middle.
Yeah, and you don't have to pay attention to politics, right? You vote for the people you like, right?
I have a genuine question. I want you to finish your thought. Remind me, I have a question about sons of bitches.
It wasn't safe for us to ignore politics, right? The Republican Party discovered that they could capitalize on the racism of the South, and starting with the Southern strategy, and it went downhill from there.
What was the Southern strategy for those who don't know?
The Southern strategy was that the Dixiecrats didn't fit in with Democrats anymore. So the Republicans went and collected all of those old racist assholes.
So, if one thing, if it never ever gets said anywhere else, let me at least say it here. That as a Democrat, right, ride or die all the way to the end, I am sorry for what the Dixiecrats tried to do inside the Democratic Party and found a host body in the Republicans. That they were bringing in a lot of local gravitas, they were bringing in a lot of old names that were going to ring out well, and we poisoned the discourse. Or our cast-offs did.
Cast-offs.
The kids we voted off our island found their way to yours, and I am sorry for what they have done to all of us.
Yeah.
Well, and that's exactly the time when Alabama became Dixiecrat. My grandfather, who had been a Democrat all his life and was in the state legislature,
And hadn't gone to high school.
turned on his heel
You said your father was the first one to go to high school.
in his family.
Oh.
It's my mother's
Sorry.
family.
Oh, yeah, no.
Yes. My grandfather was a lawyer.
Oh, yeah. Your
My-
mom was literally the last Southern belle. I said that, internet. Come at me.
In any case, when the Dixiecrats did their thing, he turned on his heel and walked away and never looked back.
Yeah.
He was so disgusted by those people.
They were disgusting.
Yes, they were.
And that's
Scum
part of
the
where
earth.
you get the hard resistance. Not many hops in when you want to write it off as, well, the stupid. And I know how good I am with the words.
Mm-hmm.
If there was a anti-me coming the other way, right, again, if I had 1/65th less like human being in me, I would be running a mega church tomorrow. Because I
Yep.
want a private jet before it all catches on fire.
Yep.
If nothing else, I want to get in my private jet and fly away from the on fire.
Yes. Well, fly to some place that still has
Wherever someone else
water
showed up with
and-
more I'm just trying to get away from the place where I had been, where they showed up with more Mad Max than I have.
No, but the
Oh, sons of bitches. When did we stop looking at all politicians as lying sons of bitches? When did our guys become good as opposed to just a useful means to an end? 'Cause I don't give a shit if Nancy Pelosi wakes up tomorrow or not at all. Like, she's bad. But
Yeah, she's
given
not...
the choice between her and McCarthy,
no, it was there were politicians who, like my grandfather, were actually decent people who were trying to make life better for the people they represented.
Yeah, people tell me
Right.
that. I've heard those exist.
We keep
Okay.
hearing those stories, but
Right.
I have yet to, aside from like Bernie Sanders.
Well, you need to go back to the period before the corporations bought the Congress, right? And there were specific laws that let them do that.
Yeah.
And so at this point, one of the reasons it's hard to get anything done is because you need money to do that, and it has to come from the corporations and the rich.
If you want any big pile of money, I mean, that's where the
Yep.
money is.
Absolutely. Those are the ones who have not been paying their taxes, who've been getting these incredible free gifts from the government.
Well, and are not
And-
decisively engaged economically.
Right. 40%
Corporations are not people. Fight me.
There you go. So
Not
anyway,
corporations. Do not send a death squad.
that was the point where it really just became, another branch of some multinational.
Well, and that we were offered two different flavors of what do you want? Somebody who's going to tell you who you can blame, or somebody who's going to promise not to let the blamed people get hurt too bad? Which has been what I've seen out of politics my whole life, is one side threatening to burn the house down and the other side promising to sell me flame retardant things.
Right. And make sure it gets bad more slowly than
Yeah.
the other side. No. Yeah, now, if you want to understand why Nancy Pelosi behaves the way she does, look at the corporations that own her. If you want to know
Yeah.
why Joe Manchin is the way he is, look at the corporations that own him. Same thing for cinema.
But I'm curious if that actually changed, right? Is this
It
another
really
low
did
resources
It
response?
really did change.
No,
Yeah.
I'm talking. Yeah, I'm saying there has become this tone in America that if you like a thing, it has to be good all the time. It's like Abraham Lincoln, right? Abraham Lincoln's really complicated for a lot of reasons, like habeas corpus and sending thousands of people to die of horrible diseases because he thought we had to export all the black people now. But we got into this very rigid, very simplistic mindset of if they're on my side, they're good. If they're not on my side, they're the devil.
I think that increasing tribalization.
Yeah, oh
Right.
yeah, we've been talking about that a lot.
That is a low resource response.
Okay.
Right. And so again, doing things like raising the minimum wage and getting some more money into the working class will help with that.
The
Right?
bottom,
Because you'll move them away
50%
from
folks.
you'll make a whole bunch of folks a whole lot less desperate. And you can do that without a huge pile of money. So, yeah, it is possible to think of things that would help. Are we going to do them?
That was the
Yeah.
tragic thing of our earlier conversation with our friend, where he had these
Yeah.
very good solutions of stuff, and there's no good way to just grab him and shake him a little bit and be like, "That's cool," but we don't have the political will to do it.
Right.
Right,
Now, that's
that we-
always going to be the problem.
Yeah.
One interesting thing, which we'll see as we go along, COVID has a substantial fraction of the population working from home. Right there, it is. Google around and find out. My guess is that roughly 50% of America worked from home.
I don't think that's true
not
because
even a bit.
50% of America
70%
does not
of
work
is
jobs
retail.
that they can work from home. Retail is not a job you could do from home.
Agreed.
It's just
Yeah.
not.
And your hourly workers are still there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're a tiny fraction of my workforce.
Your workforce
they
is
are.
your entire industry is a tiny fraction of jobs.
Yeah.
Your 700,000, that's including your tertiary and secondary and tertiary jobs?
Google it up and we'll
Yes,
find out.
there are 590,000 of you. There are another 700,000 jobs supported by the work y'all do.
What are you talking
The aerospace
about?
industry total
Yeah.
in the United States. Like,
I don't
fine.
care. Find
Then
out
come to me with
what
the numbers.
percentage of people.
No, I don't have to because I get to go, oh, all the kids on salary should get dissolved in acid. If we're going to go down, let's punish the people who had a good ride. And you can tell them by the kind of shoes they wear, what they drive.
No,
Don't
what I'm
hurt
trying to
anybody
say
the
is
internet.
whatever the percentage is of
Yeah, no, go on.
folks who could work from home, discovered they could work from home, and companies aren't stupid. It costs money to provide workspaces. It's a whole lot cheaper to have a decent information technology infrastructure.
Okay, so,
There was a 20% change.
but
Okay, so that's 20%.
right, but that's not as big of a number as you were thinking. And again, it was only 62% of workers with a bachelor's degree or more of education, and these are people that went on to get jobs with that bachelor's degree. Again, I can tell you, most people are not able to get jobs at that level even after getting a
Okay,
bachelor's.
so it's 20%. But those were also a bunch of our long distance commuters. And if we can keep them off the street, that will help. So,
I would like to see there be a measurable decrease. So far, what we've seen was a 10% increase in 4 years to production. And again, that's not great because, again, COVID's not all of those 4 years and 4 other things.
CO2 production from what?
Humans.
Okay, but US CO2 production has dropped.
Or we found a cute way to not count it since we're bad at counting it to begin with.
Pretty
Anything we
sure.
can't attribute to a point source, we don't count.
Anything you're relying on a
The bosses
corporation to
built the
tell
system
you
of
is
counting.
wrong. Yeah.
Again,
No, I don't think we're going to work our way from home out of this.
I think that can be part of the answer. Remember, that was one of the things is, people are commuting to work. Well, there are 20% of the population that don't need to. Let's let them stop. and go
Agreed,
on from there.
but someone needs
right?
to tell management that, because the noise I'm
Um,
hearing is they want them back in the office. Because let's be
Mhm.
honest, the only reason you have employees is so you can sexually harass them. Not you, but just wanted $3 billion from New York City to choose his pick of women from that state. Gee, they would have made better money if they just took $3 billion and gave it randomly to New Yorkers. Because it was going to promise to create whatever job. Like,
Yeah.
it's
No.
bad math.
So-
What you have to remember is a lot of these, discussions of we're going to make all these jobs. They're talking hundreds of thousands of jobs. Okay, we have millions of people that are, in society right now in
Oh,
America itself.
Mhm.
I'm about to steal someone's
How
job.
is 100,000 or 200,000 jobs going to change any numbers?
And our economy is built to create one job, Uber driver, that we all share. And we save the same $30 back and forth. We're like fucking Beavis and Butthead sitting there selling each other chocolate bars with the same dollar.
Okay, you need to say who we heard that from,
I
because
haven't
that
got a
was-
clue, and it wasn't his joke, so no.
Oh, okay,
And comedy is absolutely built on stealing jokes,
Of course.
that's true.
So,
and didn't claim it was mine.
Oh, that's also fair.
But yeah,
no, and that's another place that that an increase in the minimum wage would help. Because again,
Yeah.
moving up the minimum wage drives up all other wages.
Right.
yeah.
Right.
And the gig economy has to be stopped.
Or
done
controlled in
some
a way
completely
that,
different way than anyone's ever
Right.
said out loud.
okay, absolutely.
If you can't make Uber work, and they never have, dude, right, that's not a viable thing. That's a way to extract the last bits of breath from the poor, and I wonder what they're going to do about it.
Has to work for the drivers, guys. No, but one of the benefits of that is that you have families where both adults are working. And if you get more money into that family, they can make different decisions about who's going to work. And that takes people out of the workforce, which is a good thing.
Plus, what's the annual cost on our increase in violence from work from home? We had them home. Gun violence went up. Y'all did a whole show about it.
Yeah, violence. So personal violence went up 7%.
Now, well, that's hoping there's a better number. Like, not that that's a good number, internet. Don't. Not asking you to go for a high
And
score.
there's no evidence that that's largely attributable to work from home. It is
was
attributable to the
directly
stresses
to
and
COVID.
so on.
It was directly tied to COVID.
Yes, but not to work from home.
Fine.
It was tied to the stress of not having a place to go to work.
And a reduction of
And,
workplace shootings. Yeah.
So you're going to shoot somebody, it might as well be a family member.
No, it's hard to harass
No, and
your coworkers.
I am certain that some of that increase was due to work from home.
No, and
But
I
I think most of it was due to the frustration
Yeah.
and fear of not having income.
I am
and-
easily primed to go after the idea that we're going to, be able to nibble around the edges on this. And I agree that, making them work from home is not nibbling around the
Okay.
edges.
Nope. Murders are up 30%.
And
in
that's year on
2020.
year, so they're still already playing an accounting game because you're living in the time of Norman Rockwell, unparalleled in the lifetimes of anyone in America.
No, because the number we were talking about was violent crimes are up 5%, property crimes are
Yeah,
down
this is the least
8%.
violent time in American history.
Right.
Because you can't get away with it. Which is a good thing, internet. Don't do crimes. Also,
Anyway, so
comment, and subscribe.
again, some
Sorry it
of
took
that
me so long to take that out.
some of that may have been due to work from home. I don't know.
Yeah. No, it's I have this twinge about it because it sounds like a great technocratic answer, and my idea is cool. So that's one whatever small fraction of
Okay.
the other thing.
But that was an easy one.
Yes.
That there are some major
I know.
corporations suddenly going,
Yep.
I don't need cubicles for everybody.
Your middle managers need to see the slaves. I don't know why they're like that.
I know that there are major corporations that are moving
Yes.
hammer and tongs in the other direction.
And JP Morgan was paying bonuses that I would do horrible things for to have them come back. No,
That's probably foolish of J.P. Morgan.
Why? What's the settlement going to be? Something measured in the hundreds of thousands. They don't care. That morality in America is
It's
always
a
important.
huge savings for the companies whose workers don't come back.
If you, yeah,
It's enormous.
yes.
Okay.
This isn't about profit. Capitalism has never been about good running.
I'm telling you that there
Yes.
are major companies who recognize it has a direct impact on profit,
Yes.
who are moving toward a,
So it's all better, right?
no.
That's what I'm saying.
There's going to be a period of adjustment, and we don't know how it's going to shake out. But who are expecting that a substantial fraction of their employees will not be on campus, and that they will be
You don't have
so-called
to pay for
hybrid
facilities.
workers.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I'm not arguing there's not savings here.
Okay. But if there's not savings, it isn't happening.
Yes.
Okay,
It's
fine.
not happening. Let's start there. We're
It
not
is.
going
I'm
to-
telling you it's happening.
Yeah, I'm talking about us addressing climate change in any
No,
meaningful way.
no.
That won't happen.
Wait.
Yeah.
The whole point is, here is a positive change for which there are,
Yeah.
financial rewards. Let it run. How big a fraction is it? Don't know.
Yeah.
But the point is, that part's gonna take care of itself. What's next?
I don't
Right?
know.
Because that's what you need.
Yeah.
Is you need situations where the right answer is more profitable. Right? And because there are going to be other situations where the right answer is going to cost more, and we're going to have to figure a way to make that happen.
We don't know.
I know, and that's
We
why
can let it get bad,
that's
and we
why-
will drift ever more authoritarian until it
um
gets real bad.
yeah.
Because there's this myth in America that if it ever got bad, they'd rise up and what? None of them have been in a fist fight. And they are going to find out that counterinsurgency in America goes way better. Not advocating anything bad. Internet's fucking behave. No, I just view the internet as like a drunk toddler with a pistol.
Yep.
Like the scary kid from the Twilight Zone.
Oh yes, the one who could send you to the
You could
cornfield.
just do whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no, again, it'll be interesting to see, but also kind of
Right.
horrific.
But again, the thing I'm trying to say is, where you've got something that will help,
Yeah.
right, and there's a drive for it, encourage it, and then look for the next way, because
Yeah.
that one will take care of itself. You're not going to have to tell these companies don't have your people commute, right? They understand the cost savings, right? They understand they can turn in 4 rented buildings, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So.
Where the hell
but-
did we start on all this?
Well, this was how do you attack climate change?
Ah, yes. Right.
Is there anything that helps? Immediately, the impact of aircraft can be dramatically reduced
Yeah.
by flying them at lower altitudes, which will make airline tickets cost more. But again, right, do the easy stuff,
Mhm.
right?
Oh.
Keep doing it, and keep looking for the bigger stuff.
No, I think that's great, and I want to leave y'all on kind of a fun thing, and maybe we'll have a quick thought on it. But Bruce Campbell, in a recent interview, which was actually yesterday, so for y'all it was November 3rd, by Aaron Pruner from Inverse, he was asked, as an adult, when are you most frightened? And you know what his response is he says, I fear ignorance because ignorant people do really stupid things. Brilliant words from our brilliant man, Bruce Campbell, whom I adore and love
All right.
very much. So,
And so I'm going to remind you once more, if you're really convinced things are going to go to hell in a handcart, you should be praying for an asteroid. Just there was one that came by really close, and we didn't know it was there till it passed us.
yeah.
That's how it's always going to go.
Yeah.
What?
That's how it's always going to go.
Yeah. And we've talked about that a lot this past week. So
Bigger ones are easier
I think
to
we're
see.
going to murder
but
the
yes.
And
asteroid
not coming out of
discussion.
the sun.
All right,
So-
so
I
until you
totally
have a
agree.
new asteroid, we're not talking about this asteroid anymore. Just like we're not talking about condors anymore until you come up with
Or
a
how
new
easy it
condor
would be to
fact.
make an airborne rabies
So
variant.
that you understand, there are between 1 and 3 asteroids that pass us every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And we're one sad graduate student away from a plague that can't be stopped.
Yep.
no.
Sid and bio is going to be what kills us long before any space rock.
All right, so I was
You
trying
wanna-
to end this on a good note, but
You want to deal with
Turns
climate
out
change?
we just can't tolerate that.
Wait for the humans to die and warn the next kids.
all right. Well, thank you once again for hanging out with us. I know this was a long one. We appreciate you for pushing through with us. And we've had an absolutely wonderful night. It was a very lively discussion tonight.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. Thank you for hanging out and being with us, and we appreciate your understanding for the 2 days we had off. That I feel like we made up for a little bit that tonight. There was a lot of built up stuff that we'd all been thinking about. We
Yep.
got it all off our chest, so thank you. We hope you use those 2 days to catch up on our podcast, so you're caught up and with us again. And we will see you all tomorrow on Boomer Rex Tonight.
I totally should have said that we taught Mother Nature to fight as a combined army.
Did it record to the end?
It's still recording now, I think. You have to hit okay. Not yet.
Oh, because
Uh-huh. Bye, internets.